I don't know the last time I like properly did my hair. These types of things. I feel like I'm among friends.
You should see my legs.
Yes. Are you an RV person? Or are you just RV life curious, wondering how people live in a tiny space with their family 24/7? Either way, this is a podcast for you. My name is Kate White, and I travel full-time with my family and 2 kids, and the dog, in an RV. Every week, I sit down either with a fellow RV woman to discuss why she chose RV life and how she has changed on the road, or with a special guest who speaks on a topic relevant to travel life. Pull a chair up to the fire, and let's chat. Ryane Smith, welcome to the RV Queens podcast. Where in the world are you right now?
Thanks, Kate. I am so honored and excited to be here. I'm in Page, Arizona, and it is actually cold right now. Storm front's coming through, but it is normally very hot here.
I feel like I can see things blowing in the window behind you. So
it's very windy right now, and we are in a very odd spot, and so our jacks are really high. So if you see me going like this, that's why.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if we need to pause for like a storm coming through, it's no worries. It's okay. You know where I'm going to start this episode, right? We're going to go back, throw back to pre-RV life. What did the life of Ryane Smith look like? How long has it been? 6, 7 years ago?
2019, we wanted to be remote and move to the mountains and just have that freedom aspect. RV life wasn't even in my mind. And so my husband asked to be remote. And they said he could be remote if he took a new job in North Carolina. So we were like, all right, if that's what we have to do, we're going to do it. So we moved everything to North Carolina. We lived in Georgia for about 2 months, just trying to find a place there because we weren't there yet. And after a year, I was counting down the time. We kept going back and forth to Florida to visit family, and my grandfather was sick. And I was like, I wish that we could just pick up our house and move it. And I started looking up people, and I think it was Party of 6. And I was like, look, she can do it. Why can't we do it? And my husband was like, absolutely not. That's so, out of his brain frame of like living that way. He's 6 and 3 inches, 6 feet 3 inches. So it was just a lot. So I had him come with me to RVs and Camping World and to check it out. And he was on board. And we were planning 2019 that we were going to be done by April 11th and leaving. And then COVID hit. And we're like, well, we're going to do it anyways. So we left, but there was nothing to fix our rig. We had water damage. We had all the problems, mold, but no lumber was available. So we just figured it out on the road in 2020, and it was the best year of our life.
And you know what's funny? I find that to be a lot of women's stories that I interview on this podcast. Like Leah from Llama Llama Adventure, she is coming to mind. That she was like, I think it was like a month or something crazy fast. She's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. RV, there's so many things I want to ask you about. I'm going to force myself to just ask you a couple personal questions before we get into the topic of UGC. Your experience teaching yoga and mindfulness. Tell us about that experience.
So I used to run a neurosurgery department in Florida, and I stopped in 2012. And because I wanted to choose something that really I was investing my own time and effort in, and something I was passionate about, and uplifting and inspiring others through yoga and mindfulness was like that path for me. But it was also a healing journey for me in the process. It allowed me to create my own freedom, my own time, and create my own personal practice. And in turn, I was inspiring others as well. And it just took off because I was so passionate about it. And then fast forward to RV life, I'd mention it. RV places would want me to teach there. But having 2 kids, I can't get up at 5 a.m. to teach all the time. So I just try to put that through my content now and the words I put out. And I have my own personal practice, and I will teach with friends, but I don't really do it as much anymore.
Did you say neurosurgery?
Yes. Have you ever seen the inside of a brain?
What? What does that mean?
It was really cool.
And how did your role fit in that?
So I was hired as front desk, and I grew there. I was there for 10 years, and I grew to just manage the office. And I became really good friends with the doctors. They were all at my wedding. The whole staff was at my wedding. And it gives you a whole new perspective, because being in a place where people are coming because they're given these diagnoses of they only have so many months left to live, it really truly gives you a new perspective. Like, I even got this tattoo on my finger, smile, because I wanted to like inspire people, like, because people were not happy when they came in. They were very sad or angry. That, there's 5 stages of grief, and a lot of people are angry. So I feel like I was just there to like help people. And I'm still friends with a lot of people that have been through that, through those surgeries, and some people haven't. And it just gives you a new perspective. But I didn't want to do that. And that wasn't like my passion. So I decided to be free and teach yoga.
That is amazing. Okay, something else I cannot not ask you about is giving water birth in an RV.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing? I think you're like the 3rd person I've met that's done this, which I think is freaking amazing. Like, I gave birth unmedicated to both of our kids, had a doula, did the natural thing, but we were in a hospital. And my question for you is this, like, how did you find the confidence to give birth at home? You know what I mean? Like, just trusting yourself and your body.
So that's huge, trusting yourself. That's in content creation too. So in the water birth aspect, I gave birth to my son and I wanted a water birth. And they were like, my first son, Bear. And they were like, yeah, you can have a water birth. But when I got to the hospital, there was 1 tub for the whole floor. It was just not the way I wanted to do it. And so I felt like I was out of control. I wasn't able to have a voice there, and I just didn't like the atmosphere. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's beautiful. My son is healthy. He came into this world perfect, but I just wanted something different for my second birth. And I was living in a home when I said my next birth would be a home birth. And so when I got pregnant, I was like, why do I need to feel like I need to have a house? Like, this is my house. I could do it. I did a ton of research. I was Googling like who has done water births in RVs, because it's not common. And I even like talked to midwives and like, hey, I live in, at the time I was in 295 square feet. Have you ever done one before? And she's like, yeah, we've done one in an Airstream. We've done one without a bathroom. And I was like, okay, this is great. But when I was pregnant with Blue Jay, our flooring was going, because it was an old rig we bought for $30K. It was a 2011. A water birth would have not held up in the floor. So that's when we decided to buy a new rig, because we needed jacks that would hold the tub and the water weight. So we bought a new rig and we put it in here. And the whole time I'm delivering, it's like popping. The jacks are popping. But I read Birth Better. It was hypnobirthing. And it truly, truly empowered me, even just in day-to-day life, and how you handle situations and how you breath work. And I know breath work and yoga, but like this whole difference, because I thought when I delivered my first child that I knew from my yoga training that my breath would be great. No, you do not know that. You know nothing when you're having that first child. So the second child, I was prepared. I felt empowered. I knew that everything was going to be okay. I had affirmations. I set the space, and I just told myself like everything was going to be okay. I had ambulance on standby. Like, I made sure if all my what ifs were covered, but it was perfect. I wanted to do it at night because all the people in the RV park said that they were going to come over and like wait for me outside. And I didn't want that, and they're all friendly, but like, I didn't want them being outside. So my body knew. So I put Bear to bed, and at 11 o'clock, I started having contractions, and I had Blue Jay at 2:33 in the morning. And then at 7 a.m., Drew got his horn out and played like the welcoming tune to all the neighbors, and then they came over.
Oh,
it was pretty fun.
That is so special.
Yeah.
Wow, that was pretty quick. 11 to 2. Good for you, girl.
Yeah, it was 2 hours of like a true 2 hours.
Practical question, because we're all RV women, and I feel like a lot of us are probably wondering this. How do you empty the pool afterward?
The hose came in through the window, filling it, and then there was a pump that pumped it back out into the sink. And then the tub was lined, so we just had to pick up the liner and throw it out. Like the fact that I could literally come from my living room, birth, and then walk to my shower, and then get in bed. It was the most just beautiful transition. Like I truly healed from that second birth. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I would do it
I can't
again,
even imagine.
but I'm not going to have any more kids. I'm good.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you. I love that so much.
Thank you.
Freaking inspiring. Okay. Something else I want to ask you about is actually about motherhood. So nice segue. You really seem to have kept like your personal spunk and your high vibeness and your Ryane individuality as a mom with 2 young kids. And something I've personally experienced, and then like, I've seen a lot of women experience, is kind of like a mom fade. You get really caught up in the minutia of domesticness, right? Like, I feel like it's a never ending cycle of making food and cleaning it up and picking up the house and getting groceries and bedtime and all the things, right? We all know this. You just let go of taking care of yourself. It like kind of fades into the back burner. Taking shower is now like an act of me time. I don't know the last time I like properly did my hair, these types of things. I feel like I'm among friends.
You should see my legs.
Yes. Point that is like, it really seems like you have kept your Ryane-ness intact in the middle of being a mom. And my question is, how do you do that?
There's a saying like that flamingos lose their pink when they have birth because they're giving all their nutrients to their babies. And I totally agree. Like you completely, with my first son, you lose yourself. You've got to find this whole new way of life and being. With my second son, I feel like I was just more prepared mentally. And then as we've evolved in our lifestyle and my husband being home, which is such a blessing, we share responsibilities and we're very vocal. If I need some time, I'm going to take time and communicate. Communication is a lot when I'm feeling I need time. And a lot of inward reflection as well. At night, when the boys go to bed, I do a lot of just journaling and reading and things that help me to grow. Because that stagnant energy, it can truly take you down and you have to move some way, whether that be physically or mentally, you have to get moving. And I feel like movement in general helps. So we're outside a lot, we're moving a lot, we're taking in nourishing foods, we're doing things that uplift our mind. Color therapy, I talked to Natasha about this a lot, but color therapy I'm huge about. Colors brighten you and lift your mind. Like you can see color. That's why I make popsicles that are bright yellow because my boys are excited. They're getting ice cream for breakfast, I just try to do things that bring light to my life that help light me up. And when I feel like I'm not, I recognize that and I try to do better.
Man, I love that. Good wisdom there.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome.
Thanks.
All right.
It's my experience.
Yes, and you are
life's
such a
hard,
light.
man. It is hard. Like I used to be like an angry person. Like growing up, I had a hard childhood. So like not like a hard childhood, but I've had things that have happened in my life. And I feel like that's just given me a perspective on my life is great. And I just need to realize that and stand in a place of gratitude and abundance.
I'm just going to like take this little tangent for a minute because I love this topic and I could talk about it all day. This is going to sound woo, but I feel like you're going to be here for it.
Give it to me.
Whenever you start like thinking and living and moving in a more like high energy, high vibration type way, like for me, it's easier to recognize when I'm like, what is this like doldrum, or sometimes we're like in a town that I'm like, what's going on around here? Let's just shake that off and get ourselves back to the place of like, life is good. Like, look how beautiful it is. Let's play some music. Let's dance, And that's something that I'm always trying, like, I'm always like, it's not like faking it. It's like, I can take steps in my life to feel good. Like, that's a big part of life.
And mothers are huge in that role in the family. A mother can change the dynamic of a household with her tone, with everything, And so by playing music and just doing these simple things, it truly changes it.
At what point in your life did you learn about this kind of stuff?
In 2012, when I started training for yoga training, I did many, 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 many hours of studies. I can teach and speak in Sanskrit. Like, I don't do it anymore, but I've learned a lot through that. And then through my own learning and researching. And like you said in the polos a couple days ago, that we're professional learners, emotion is emotion. It's energy in motion. So whether you go to this town or you meet this person, you're going to feel that frequency, that currency that they're putting off. And sometimes you can feel it's you, but again, it's just something that energy that they're projecting at that time in their life, And so some towns are weird and have weird histories and things have happened. Like when I travel and when we drive, I constantly think about like who roamed the land, who was on their horse up top of that hill, like all the people that came before us and the energies and just the things that happened there. And, you felt it in 2020, all that energy, So energy is powerful, man.
I love it. Okay, let's get into UGC. This is a big topic. First of all, for people listening to this episode who are like, I keep seeing this term everywhere, I have no idea what it is. Please tell us, what is UGC and how is it different from other types of content creation?
So UGC is user-generated content. It is content that you make for your brand's audience. And it resonates different with people because I feel like people are also more compelled and more moved by relatable things. If you pay, I don't want to drop names, but high celebrities, you want to feel relatable. And I feel like a lot of brands are going more towards UGC because it's cheaper and because it's more relatable.
And how is it different from creating content and partnering it with brands just as an influencer, for example?
It's different in a way of I don't have to post to my social feeds. I create this content and I give it away, and then I can create my Instagram to be my personal brand and how I want to share and how I want to show up in the world. I like posting organic things, so I will organically post things. Like I did something recently with a campground and I posted some reels, but that whole trip, I didn't have to post anything to my account, which was just so great because I didn't have to worry about meeting deadlines, any of that. I could literally just gather everything up within 30 days and say, here you go. And it works out that way for me, I feel like, because while I like to influence in a positive way, I wouldn't say that I'm like, buy this cup. It's really cool. Like I will if it's organic to my life or if it's a product that I'm going to already use. But I just loved UGC for that because it gives me more freedom.
Yeah. And I guess what I was looking for there was just that delineation. Both UGC and then like kind of partnering for influence is working with a brand that wants to pay you for content. UGC is a little more behind the scenes. Like it might still be your face and your hands and your space using that cup, for example. The brand just takes it and does what it wants. It's not paying you to post it on your own feed versus for influencers like, okay, the brand's like, okay, you have X number of followers. We're going to pay you X number of dollars for some reels and some posts and yada, yada, yada that you're going to post on your feed. And then that's kind of where the pressure is. It seems like that you are alluding to. Like, then there's like, oh my God, it's my feed and my face and my brand. Then I'm like trying to make people buy this cup.
The whole reason we get into this lifestyle, I feel, is to not feel rushed and to not feel we need to meet these deadlines and have to post every day. I want to be able to show up when I feel energetically ready to show up. And that's why I like to do like a la carte, like, hey, I would love to create UGC for you. And then I can also throw in, my influencer side, if you per se, and here are my numbers if you'd like that aspect. It's nice to have that in the pocket.
Did you know all of this whenever you were getting into content creation? Like, I'm curious, was this a really intentional choice from the beginning? I'm going to do specifically UGC and grow that business. Or was it like, let's just see what happens? Like, how did this go for you?
I don't want to like drop names or anything, but I was applying to be an ambassador and I got denied and I asked why. And they told me that I just didn't have the right following. I wasn't as engaged in the community. And I'm like, you're right. Like I go on my phone and I scroll and then I post things about what I do during the day and that's it. And so I was looking up all these different avenues of like income and I saw UGC, but I wasn't like, I was like, I don't care. I wanted to look at the influencer side because that's like the most common thing used. And I posted a photo of me with a popsicle, and the company reached out to me and was like, hey, I want that photo. And at first I was like, oh my God, they want my photo. Sure, take it. And then I was like, oh, I could have sold it to them. So then I went back and I was like, hey, I gave you this free product. And I started to build a relationship with them. And then I was like, look at this content that I can create. And that created a relationship and a foundation. And that's where it kind of started.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great start to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us, what mistakes would you say you made at the beginning of running your UGC business?
Giving things away for free, for sure. Because I just want to be kind and like, here, take it all, Not going with the flow, I feel like. I try to practice that on a daily basis, but sometimes you want to be able to like control what's happening, but you can't. Sometimes a deal doesn't work out, and you can't take it like personally. And knowing my value, I think I was undercharging and just doing things for free. And you can't, you're worth so much more. You have to know that value in this. And people get salaried for this. You're wearing so many hats, you're doing so many things, like you deserve it. You work hard for the money,
How are you finding brands now? At the beginning, it kind of like you stumbled into this relationship. Now I'm guessing it kind of evolved into you started reaching out and pitching, or how does it work for you now to find deals?
I was literally just pitching at first. I was just popping into people's DMs. Hey, I'm Ryane. Like totally not put together, just like, and I was getting a lot of no's. And then when I started to like refine things and just really try to just make it more professional, I was being taken more seriously. And then I started doing media kits, and then I was getting more deals. And then once I really got my portfolio together, I feel like that was a game changer. And then when I started creating proposals and just like giving brands an idea of what it would look like to work with me, I feel like that was a game changer, because I feel like that gives a reason, like you want to talk to these people. You have to create a relationship with these people. And I feel like by giving them more than just a quick message of why you want them to pay you, it's so much deeper than that. So you really have to, you can just do it with a social media kit. But I feel like for larger deals or retainer deals, I feel like just putting yourself together in a more professional way helps to gain so much more.
So at this point, do you still start by reaching out on a DM on social media?
So lately I have not, because I've been so busy with the things that I'm already doing. I try to only take on so much, or I'm feeling rushed and crazy. It's nice because now I feel like brands reach out to me, which is a nice turn of events. When I do want to work with a brand, I will reach out to them. Like right now I'm working on proposals and a new portfolio to pitch, but I've just been going. So I will be pitching in the next week. I just have been I took a month off basically.
Tell us, like, how many years has it taken you to get to this point where brands are reaching out to you?
I'd say 2 years. The first year was me just like developing and just creating and putting myself out there. And then the next year I feel like the energy I was putting out there and giving was coming back to me. And it was great to see, and just see that it was validation that the work that I'm putting into this is paying off. And sometimes you get spam emails too. Like you think, oh my God, this brand's reaching out. And then you go to their account and they have like 0 posts,
I know. Dang it. So close.
Yeah. But that's still a message,
Right. Still counts. Okay. So for people that are new, RV women listening to this podcast, what are your top 3 tips for like getting started in UGC?
Probably aligning all your social feeds so that you are cohesive, and be yourself, and just start taking photos of the products that you already use. You don't need to have these, beautiful products to make your portfolio great. You can use your toothbrush, you can use your cups, you can use anything that you use in your daily life that you're passionate about, and that will show through the photos that you take. And just do different angles, and same with UGC. So I could sell a photo to a company of a photo straight on, and then I take the photo at a site angle, and then I can use this for my social feed because they don't have the rights to this one. They have the rights to the straight on photo. And it just helps you get comfortable with creating and just doing things that you're passionate about already, because then that energy will show through.
Do you have a fancy camera? Are you just using your phone, or what kind of equipment do you use for all this?
Yeah, so I used my phone for the first year, and then I got a Canon for Christmas, I think it was. So I haven't had it that long. I use that for more like high resolution photos, and I feel like it just gives me more of an up because that's something I can also offer. And then also film in 4K. But my husband was a genius, and the other day told me, hey, babe, you can also record in 4K on your phone. So you do not need anything. Your phone is everything that you need. I would get a newer phone, like don't have something like a flip phone, even those were cool. Everything you already have within you and in front of you. You don't need a camera unless you wanted, get some really higher paid deals in that way.
Is there kind of like best practices for pricing, or like baseline pricing for beginners? Like how do people know what to charge when they're starting out in UGC?
Yeah, I think that is on your value, but then at the same time, you're like, how do I, judge my value? I kind of just looked at what other people were doing. I Googled a lot, I researched a lot, and I started everything out at $50 a photo. And then I would package things to be cheaper if you bought more photos from me. And then I just continually raised my rates. I wrote down a good example because I know people like numbers and stuff. So if you were to sell like a 60-second video at $212 and you sold 20 of those a month, you would make $50K a year. So you don't need to do 20 a month, but that is just like a good example that most videos are better for UGC because those companies can take that raw imaging and raw video and then make 10 videos out of those. The brands do like videos more, I feel like. Photos are more, I feel like, for campaigns and marketing and like brochures and websites and blogs and things like that.
I feel like there's questions I'm not asking about this. Like what else? What am I not asking about UGC that you think is important for people to know?
Know that this is a social place. And I know we have a lot of introverts, and I am an extrovert, but I'm also very much an introvert. I love to recharge by myself. I feel like don't put so much pressure on yourself. Take the photo and edit it. Lightroom makes your photos just pop, and that can change it. Like you may not think it looks that great, but editing goes a long way. And to just get creative with it and have fun with it. If you feel pressure and you feel like it's not fun, then maybe that's not the right avenue for you. You want this to light you up. You want it to help you grow because you're not going to want to do this forever if it's not fun. And so I always say to make your social feed something that inspires you as well. If you follow people that don't make you feel good or don't give you creative ideas, then maybe you should just make it a vision board and kind of unfollow some people, sorry. But just do things that make you feel good and uplift the community, and just instead of going on to doom scroll, maybe go on and just engage and just say, hey, how you doing today? You don't know how that person's day was. It can make them feel really great. And I feel like just building relationships in general open up so many doors, especially for UGC. I got a huge UGC deal last year just because I was referred to by a friend, and it opened up a whole opportunity for me just because I took a phone call and I was nice to take, because I could have been like, oh my God, I'm so busy. You know what I mean? I feel like just being open and being yourself goes a long way.
I mean, it's great life advice too. Good. We're here for it. Will you please tell the listeners where they can connect with you online? And then I'm going to circle around with one more personal question for my last question of the show.
So I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok with Roaming with the Smiths. But on Facebook, I'm Ryane Smith. And the reason I'm not cohesive is because I posted a tour of our home 2 years ago and it went viral and I got so many followers. And so I didn't want to change that. So Ryane Smith is me on Facebook, but everything else is Roaming with the Smiths.
Whenever you think back to yourself before RV life and now, what has changed?
I guess my attitude, I think, and I know that can be different. I just think when I was living in a sticks and bricks house, my husband was never home. And when he was home, it was right before bed, and we never had time to do anything. And I feel like it allowed, this lifestyle has just given me a perspective of more abundance and just being more present and truly going with the flow. That's why I jump in all the rivers that I can, because there's no moment like the present. I'm just truly living in a state of gratitude for it, because it's changed everything, our life, truly. Even our children, like I feel like first son, he would, all we did was hang out and go and then had a routine. And now it's more of flexible, and we're outside all the time and we're seeing moose walk by. It's just really cool experiences.
I love it. Oh, so good. You are such a light to me and the RV Queens community. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate your time. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode and for being my favorite part of RV life. If you could please like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, that would be awesome. And listen, if you want to have conversations like I had on this episode with your fellow RV women, head to rvqueenspodcast.com/community and choose your RV Queen Circle today. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, or hopefully I will see you on the road. Yes.